Identifying.
Standby one. Let's go. Let's go.
You're about to experience the uncensored conversations, stimulating wit, and the thought-provoking wisdom. Bold, raw, and uncut. Right now, on the LanceScurv Show.
Looking on YouTube, and I think that's what it was. I was looking for an illustrator.
Right.
Actually, and ran into your interview you did with Sophia Stewart on The Matrix, and
that was kind of long too. That was a long one.
Yeah, it was kind of long, but it was good because she still doesn't get the credit for that those movie franchises.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that parallels, the same with a lot of things that Black people come out with. We don't get the credit due in America.
Mm-hmm.
It gets stolen, monetized, and then as time goes on, the history says that, it belongs to white people. Because I was thinking about that today, as far as Michael Jackson, because Chuck Berry died.
Just passed away, yes.
And he was the founder, and he started rock and roll.
Right.
If you look at rock and roll today, if you ask a black kid today, what is rock and roll, they'll tell you it's white people. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I see them lining it up the same way, like with Eminem. They're saying Eminem, he's the king of hip hop.
Right.
And I said,
right.
Wow. Yeah, and I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, do you know, as history goes down, there's going to be children who don't know any better.
Right.
And they're going to grow up and they're going to say, "Oh, hip hop is white."
But in like another 150 years, Muhammad Ali was going to be white.
Yes.
I'm saying it to be funny because we can't have anything, and what we have must be taken by them. It's the way it is. And I was just funny because I was just looking at a video. There's a gentleman from down in Medellin, Colombia, who moved down, a black man, and from America, and he was speaking to other blacks who moved down, and they were speaking about how nice it is there and how they don't feel the same tension in the air. And there are whites who moved down who they say it's like utopia, and you can get so much for the dollar down there, and it's not the tension, it's a slower pace. And I'm saying it to say this, that while they still continue to rape and rob us here, we are operating under a tense atmosphere that somewhat quells our creativity and our ability to want to fight and grow. I mean, a righteous fight. But the thing is that we shouldn't even have to be in fight mode while we're here in America, because we know we have a predator who is looking to kill us, steal things from us, not give us credit, just keep us embroiled in a battle. So when you're not in a battle mode like that, yes, you're a man and you can defend yourself, but it's not a very healthy thing to remain in that fight mode. So
yeah,
for us to think of the world as the bigger place than it is, there are other places where we are loved and we are accepted, and they're not as materialistic and even more modern than here. Yet and still we can still connect to nature and be connected to each other, because there's something different in the air. I don't know if you, and I do know that I'm just saying that for effect. I don't know if you notice it, but me at almost 54 years old, there's something sucked away from the air. You have to breathe a little harder to get the same amount of oxygen. And I mean that on a spiritual level. There's something missing, and we're not getting as much life in our time as much as we used to.
Yes, I totally agree with that. It's a lot changing. Also, just the fact that we're not in our natural environment. You know what I'm saying? That
indeed
we came here, and and anytime you do that, even to a different organism, there's going to be a challenge because you're not in your best appropriate place.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That you vibe in. So yeah, when they brought us here, they stole God's children and they didn't know it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And now they're finding out what they stole. But the thing I notice is how they paint Africa as a place of starvation and things like that. Anytime they show it. Yeah, this is really deceptive. And I thought about it. I've never seen a commercial for Africa. You know, I'll see a commercial for Hawaii. I'll see a commercial for Jamaica. I'll see a commercial for, but because that is their gold mine. Africa is a gold mine, and they want to make us believe that Africa is a place that we would never want to go. But if you do go to Africa in certain parts, white people really love Africa. I mean, this one of utopias on the planet. You know what I'm saying? But once again, it's the deception to make you not even consider. Just like I was thinking about it as far as the Bible and other things like that. I was like, wouldn't it make sense that the real God would be demonized on this planet?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He would not be promoted. So the whole, I mean, that's a deeper conversation right there. But you know, just the way that we have been constantly lied to all of our lives. And as far as what you were saying, as far as the life force, I do feel something missing. I do feel that. But ultimately, I believe this earth needs to be destroyed ultimately for us to get to where we got to go. And, you know, a lot of people that's on a non-conscious level, they're going to, oh man, you know.
They don't understand what you meant by that.
You know what I mean? It's because that's the only way out of this. I mean, death is the only real thing on this planet. Even the living life is an illusion. You know what I mean? The reason I can say that is because anything, a lot of times we talk about things eternal, but we don't know how to identify them. And how you identify something that's eternal is something that never changes. It never changes. And so when you look at death, every single person that was born on this planet, they all had to reach death. There was not, and so when you have something that precise, then you got to understand that's the only real thing. That's the only thing that's real. Your life is only, I mean, you are a divine being in this body. You know what I mean? It's, so, I mean, I could expound upon that, you know, pretty deep, but I don't want to go over people's heads. You know what I'm saying? But
don't be afraid of that, man. I mean, if you want to touch on a little something, if anything, me right now in my life, I'm trying to speak in a way that's over people's heads. No, I'm not trying to sound a certain way like I'm better than anybody else, but I don't even want to resonate on what's common anymore. I want to keep myself out of that comfort zone. I want to go where it's different. I want to stay on that frequency that many people can't touch. Because if I stay there, only then I'll be able to see higher than that. But if I stay on this and touch on something higher than what most people can pick up on their spiritual frequencies and radios, so to say, then I'll always be pulled back to this. I'm trying to get out of this. So in a sense, I'm trying to die on the common level. And like you said, death is the only real thing. Then basically death is life. And so people who don't understand, who think on a low level like, oh my God, what is he talking about, committing suicide? Look, the couple years that we spend on this level, how long is it compared to eternity? So this is really nothing. We're going to spend more time on those other, what many would say, unknown levels than we do here. This is just a quick blinking of an eye when you compare it to eternity. So why do we hang on to this so much? There's more. To me, this is a preparation. This is a quick dress rehearsal. Go into the dressing room, get yourself ready, because we're going to get down in eternity, and we have to go through the physical process of death to get there.
Yes, I agree with that.
And you understood that. You understood it. Now, if somebody else wants to be in the class of life and I don't know what you talk about, so and so, well, look, you won't be ready for the test then. It's a point that we come to that if you don't have it, you better get it and get a sense of urgency to get it. And if you don't get it, I can't waste my time
Right.
I'm a helpful person, but when they yell fire, you got feet, you got legs, let's go.
Let's go. And, you know, everybody's on different levels, but you know, yeah, that's something that's universal that you're talking about. We are all in this life, or what we call life, and it's just it's like a brief intermission. So I really agree with what you were saying about in terms of eternity. You can't even measure eternity by our standard of time here. It cannot be measured by time.
That's right.
That's something that's hard to understand for the average, or even the what you want to call a science person, because science people, the problem with science and atheism is an answer to Christianity. So they leave out the most important thing.
Right.
Like even Einstein even said that, you know, science without religion is lame. Religion without science,
right,
is crazy. So I understand that train of thought, but also the more that I've been reading mythology, I come to find out mythology is the most real science there is. Mm-hmm. However, because we're getting our interpretation from a Western man and a man that doesn't understand how deep the science is, he labels it myth or mythos.
Right.
But the more, like, for instance, when you read about Zeus in Greek mythology and how Zeus defeats his parents, the Titans, and he crushes their body into ashes. So these are the ashes of divine beings. And he commissions Prometheus to fashion human bodies with the ashes of the Titans, which were his parents, more primordial beings than he is. And then you look at, and then you think of that as fiction.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you look at the story of Adam and Eve, and you look at science, you see that is an actual reality.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Because in the story of Adam and Eve, he says he makes man out of the dust of the earth. That's the same story as the mythology with Zeus crushing the Titans into ashes. And if you look at melanin, that's what melanin is. Melanin, and what makes up God's children, like I say, that's the crushed death of eternal beings. That is what we are actually made of. Mm-hmm. And you can only understand that once you go deeper in science. But I can confirm everything I say. I'm not a person that just believes or says something. So how I can prove this is the geneticists, they have done a scan on every race on the planet. Mm-hmm. And what they've come to find out is that we are the only African people, are the only real human beings. Every other race has partial Neanderthal DNA.
And they won't tell you that.
Not fully human.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and they call us the subhumans. Now, another thing that correlates with that is, have you ever heard about Henrietta Lacks?
Say that again, the name?
Henrietta Lacks. Henrietta Lacks was a woman from Pittsburgh, mm-hmm. Baltimore, and 713 Pittsburgh in Baltimore, Maryland, mm-hmm. who went to a hospital. She had, they claimed she had cancer, and they were doing research trying to replicate cells, mm-hmm. and they were only using what they call human, white people, because at the time it was still racist.
Right.
So they were only using white cells, and those cells were dying in the same day. But they took Henrietta Lacks, this is a black woman, and without her knowing, they took a swab of her cell. And to make a long story short, this woman, they got a whole research on it called the Immortal Cells of Henrietta Lacks. This woman had immortal cells, and they have been able to create a industry that would have never existed based on her immortal cells. Her cells are still replicating to this day, and that was back in the 40s.
It's amazing.
So that correlates with what I was saying as far as us being made out of a divine being, because no other human or no other race have they been able to get immortal cells from. So that correlates. Then you got the story of Lucy. You know about that?
Yeah.
Lucy in Africa?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they say that she's the mother of civilization, of every race, can be traced with the rings of DNA to Lucy. Lucy is short for Lucifer. Lucifer is the light bearer. So when they call this woman from Africa Lucy, they are calling her Lucifer the light bearer, which has now become demonized as the devil.
Mm-hmm.
When the devil and Satan and Lucifer are two different terms entirely. Satan means adversary or your enemy, your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Lucifer means bearer of light or bearer of the soul. So it's amazing that we have, it would be that terminology that gets confused, and you see God as the devil and the devil as God. You see
Wow.
what I'm saying?
Wow. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why the world is so screwed up, because we're running after something that's like the opposite way. It's just, we're so twisted around. Yet we grin and bear it. Deep down to our core, we know something's wrong, but we grin and bear it because everybody else is going this way. Well, everybody else is doing it, so I guess I'll believe this way and believe that way. But they know deep down in their heart that they've been lied to, and there's something wrong with the system as it is accepted as being the truth. But when you run with what you know, and we spoke about that earlier, and like you said, you do back up everything you say with facts.
Yes.
And this is part of a deeper conversation. We're just touching on it right now, but it's a knowing, and we're equipped with that. And when we give that up to run with something that's manufactured, that's a lie that they tell us is the truth, it's like having a size 12 foot, but you're walking around in size 10 shoes all day. You feel that something is not right.
Yeah.
And you know that something's not right. And most of us do. But we're too damn afraid to open our mouths and say, you know what? I got to go where I know it's right. I got to go with what resonates. Me, right now, I'm big into detox, mental, physical, and spiritual detox. There are certain places I do not want to go that are not good for me. There are places that I want to go that are good for me. There are certain foods that I am not ever going to eat again. And there are certain foods that I never touched before that I know are good for me that grow in different soils. On a spiritual level, an emotional level, I'm going places that I've never gone before. And there's certain people I do not ever want to see in this life again. If you have that kind of energy around you where it's that you're not going anywhere with what you've been given. So I don't want anything that is part of that final death, because the real death is not final. But this worldly thing they give to us, that's the final death. We're worried about transition, most of us, when that's a good thing, but we're running to the very things that kill us and act like it's okay. We say, oh, you know what? Man, I got high last night. Man, I'm really living. When you gonna live, man? Man, I was in the bed with 5 females last night. Man, I'm living life. No, you're going toward death. You're screwing up yourself emotionally and spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
So these death practices, we've been lied to make it seem as though we're really living. And we look at people who get away from that. Oh man, you living boring. Something's wrong with you. You different, man. You got weird on me. See,
that's all design. That's all design. It says in the Bible that, and this is the problem with the Bible. Actually, the problem with the Bible. Well, first let me say this. It says in the Bible that Satan is the god of this world. So it can't be, because when you go to church, they tell you, "Oh, God created the world." See what I'm saying? This causes a confusion,
right?
Because how could God create the world, but then Satan is the god of the world? I come to find out that the story in Genesis is Satan's story. This is his creation as far as the physical matter. This is a lesser god, or what they call Lord God. Mm-hmm. Lord God is the lowered God, the lower God, not the highest. And so he creates this this place to rule over something higher than him. This is why he's a jealous God, because what he's encapsulated into flesh is a higher spirit than he is. So he's jealous, and that is seen in the story of the garden of Adam and Eve, which is symbolic, but it's also true, because he doesn't want them to get the knowledge that they are higher.
Right.
Because once they have that knowledge, they're going to supersede him. You see what I'm saying? So he does everything to go against them. And also in the Bible, I'll tell you what the problem I have with the Bible itself is in the very first words in the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1. It says, "In the beginning, God." Right there is the problem. Because everything that has a beginning has an end. So when you say in the beginning, God doesn't have a beginning or an end. This is a story of something else explaining its beginning.
Great
and
point.
Actually, if you actually think about it, it's the beginning of the fall. Because when he says, "Let there be light," this is even deeper. Darkness is the highest light. We've been trained that darkness is evil. Darkness is the highest light. If you take all the colors in the spectrum, they all lead you, the highest form of that. If you concentrate those and put those together, yellow, blue, green, orange, purple, when you put them together, they make what our eyes see as black.
Right. Isn't that something? Great point.
Yes.
I want people to think about that.
Yeah. So what they do is they demonize darkness. Darkness is higher than physical light. Darkness is the only light that you can't create. See, I can create a light bulb in the physical, but that light bulb is going to have a lifespan. That light bulb is going to eventually burn out. Anything that we call physical light manifestation on the physical world has a lifespan. It has a beginning and an end. So this is not the real light. Darkness, on the other end, or what you call darkness, can't be created, and it exists outside of anything. What I mean is, when this light in my house, if the light bulb goes out, what's there by default?
Darkness. Yeah.
Darkness.
That's right.
Can I create? I can create a light. I can't create darkness. I can only allow it or put room for darkness. Everything that develops needs darkness.
Yes,
light.
that's what I was just thinking about. Isn't that something?
Yes. So when you take pictures, you take the film strip and you put it in, you need darkness for the development. We've been lied to that this physical light is the actual real light. So the reason this is why I'm backing it up with science. I'm not just saying something. You see what I'm saying? I'm giving an example, but that light is, there's a light that we can only see, only God's children can see.
Right.
And that is the light of darkness, which sounds odd hearing that, the light of darkness, but I'll give you an example of how this is true. Your third eye, what I call it the first eye, because if you look at the chronology of each thing on your body, your third eye comes first. It's at the top of your head. It's the only eye that is covered up. See what I'm saying? Your eyes have holes. Your mouth has a hole. Your nose has holes. You see what I'm saying? But that is the most important eye. And guess what? That eye can only see in dark. So when you go to sleep, these physical eyes are closed. Yet and still, how is it that you can see in your sleep so well that you think you are living? That's how powerful you can see when you are sleeping. That's the third eye that you're seeing with, but it can only see in darkness. That is the true light, darkness.
Yes.
So if you are a white person, you are born what appears to be normal, but spiritually, they are born spiritually blind. Why? Because they're born with a calcified pineal, which means their third eye does not work.
Tell it.
So spiritually, they are blind. So they can't understand this, and they're not children of that. You see what I'm saying?
And this is why many need to get next to one of us. On a simple level, you're on these jobs, right? and you have a boss that may be white, and he may be so disconnected, more so than ever before, to the proper way to communicate with us, which there's a limit there, you know? They can only get but so much, but it's like it's beyond them. This is why they've got to get one of us to buddy up with. What did he mean by that? You could say something so clear, like what you're saying to me is so clear. To someone else it's abstract, but it's refreshing to me. We spoke the other morning. I called you back. I called you back yesterday, but because it's it's resonating. I'm like, I can't let this brother go. No homo. I mean, it's just a righteous thing.
No, you don't have to. No,
I know. I said that to be funny. You know how I talk, but I'm hungry for that, and I don't get that. Being around folks who only speak on such a low frequency, where there are so many of us who have adopted that and embraced that, and they've given up on the higher level. See, so when we meet a brother or sister in public and they overhear us, or we speak to them a certain way, they come off like a baby who's sucking a bottle, because it's like they know. It's like, I haven't been in practice speaking this way, but I can understand him, but this is a little different. It's like when you drive down the street looking for an address and you don't know the exact house, you start slowing down, looking around. That's the way they do. But it strikes something when you, and this is why I said, don't hold back. If it goes over the heads of most, so be it. It's giving them a higher level to strive for. If we keep, I'm not throwing off on you, brother. I'm just saying that let it all go full throttle, because you just don't know who you're affecting around you, who needs to see that there's a higher level of communication. Yes, we're using words, but we're doing it in a way that others would say is abstract. But if you're equipped with that system, with that first eye, as you say, you won't miss a beat.
You won't. And it's also, the Bible says it says his children hear his name, or hear his voice and understand his voice. When you are a conscious person, the chances of you running into another conscious person on this earth is very low, unless you go into maybe a place where there are conscious people, like a meeting or a gathering or an event. But in the percentage of people who are aware on the planet, it is rising, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's rising. Yeah. But the attacks are increasing to keep those who are blinded blind. Yeah. And see, they make those attacks are not like, well, somebody's going to jump out the bushes and attack you, so I got to use my words properly then. But it's a seduction. It's a seduction into giving up thinking, talking, communicating, and resonating on that high level, because if we do, that means we are talking in a way that they can't understand. And with all the hell that they've raised on this earth, they know that that's their doom. If we truly all communicated at that higher level, we would police ourselves. We'd have a loving society. We'd have a nurturing society. We would grow without them who want to keep us down. Because if they keep us down on the lower frequencies, they can understand us. They can control us. And if we have a quiet taste for filth, they'll always conquer us, because they can throw their women at us. They can throw their drugs and their liquor at us. Their gossip. Well, he said this about you. He said, because you see, evil will come at you all kind of ways, and they try to see what's inside of you. They know something good is in there, but they try to get a rise out of you and try to get a reaction out of you. If you ever react in any situation in life, it means that that person who caused you to react controlled you. Now, if I react in a way that might be similar to the way I chose to act, it might be the same action, but I chose to do this. Nobody's going to manipulate me to getting emotional by throwing a word at me and coming back in 2 or 3 days and saying something different, and let's see where he stands. Let me judge him by his reaction. Like when you're searching for chemicals, and you drop a particular chemical, that if you drop it in this unknown solution, if it is this, it will give this reaction. You'll never know, because I'm above those games.
Right. And ultimately, what you got to understand too is it's not even. I used to get caught up in that. I understand now. It's even higher than them. They don't even understand what's going on. We're looking at them, and because I used to blame the white man this and such, and he is responsible for a lot of the most, devastating things.
He's a catalyst. Yes,
absolutely. But I found it's even higher than that. They're only being used.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? This whole physical existence on what we call Earth, it's a trap.
Right.
It's set up to bring souls. And how I can demonstrate this is, let's just look at what are the most highest motivations in what we call life. The highest motivations in life are, number one, sex.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Number two is either fulfillment of ego or money. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at that.
Yes. And how low those things are. I mean, it's just so low. Sex feels good. It has.
No, that's the trap.
Right. But on a righteous level, it can be good, where it's in the righteous place. But wanton, out of control, lusty, just not understanding the higher level. That's bad. Like you said, the ego fulfillment, status, and I have more of this than you do, and I have a higher status than you do, and there's always somebody higher. Then you pass on. You focused on this instead of the transition, and now you're truly dead, and nobody remembers you. So who cares? You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that is attachment to something that is the illusion, which is the false self, the ego. But also, I'm gonna take that back. The second highest motivation besides sex is avoidance of death and avoidance of pain. That's the second highest motivation.
You're right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when I look at that, I see a trap, because I notice if you really observe life, the things that are pleasurable to you or cause the highest pleasure also have a consequence behind them. I've noticed this when it comes to things like, it's set up for pain. This life is set up for pain.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, we do everything when we have sex for the orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
But what comes behind the orgasm? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You're going into the portal, the woman's vagina. You're going into the portal. You are teasing the portal. Once you have the orgasm, it feels good to you because what? You release something to bring another soul to come down to be trapped. So it's a reward. It's rewarding you for bringing more souls to come down here to be incarnated, or the God's children, and even what is not God's children to suffer.
Right.
Yeah, it's about suffering. So I noticed that, and I said, "Wow." I said, "It looks like everything that feels good or whatever in this life, it's some form of a trap to continue this existence, like fear."
Right.
You know what I mean? That keeps this going because you don't want to die. Now, I'm not saying, kill yourself or, it's not. I'm saying it's embedded there, though. And the more you study it and you look at this physical existence is the worst thing. You know what I mean? Because when I would be a child going to church, I would always ask, I think I had this conversation with you about talking to pastors.
Yeah, they couldn't answer you properly.
Yeah, they couldn't answer me because I would ask them, and because it was conflicting to me that you tell me God or the perfect, that the God of the perfection, which exists outside of this planet, you tell me him or it created this world with all the suffering, all the death, where a child can die, where an innocent person can be unjustly harmed. You tell me out of one breath that God created the world, but then you tell me Satan is the God of this world. So it's a very conflicting, basically that triggered my own research because I realized they don't even know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you got to stay away from religions, any closed system, because anything that blocks knowledge is the enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well said.
If I'm in a church or whatever, and they tell me, no, we don't talk about that, or we don't do this, or don't ask that question.
That's crazy.
Question. Yes. Yes. You got to question that. You got to say, why is that forbidden? You know what I'm saying? Why is that forbidden? Once you ask these questions, you'll see that it's a control mechanism down here to prevent real knowledge. And the reason I know that is just look at your human body. Every child that is born comes here crying.
Mm-hmm.
But with no memory. You don't know where you came from. You don't know where you are. You don't have any previous knowledge. It's wiped when you come here as a baby. But you know to cry. Now, that's interesting to me because the spirit in the child that has been trapped now in this physical body doesn't know how to speak, but it knows to cry. It knows this is a bad thing to be in the physical body. You see what I'm saying? But when you look at it from an aspect of, because, you know, that's another thing I was going to say. The most protected asset on the planet, children. Oh, the children. Oh, don't harm the baby. And I thought about that, and I said, oh, wait a minute. Once this child becomes an adult, you don't care nothing about it.
Right.
But as long as it's a baby, so this is, once again, a protection mechanism to keep souls being trapped and incarnating down on this planet, because you got to protect the babies. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Keep the cycle going.
That's right. So I seen it's a higher thing at work, but you can learn just through observation. If you just examine life and you see what you get consequences for and what you get, like, for instance, this would be equivalent of what you see as hell. You know, they describe hell. They say that death will be everywhere. There will be wailing and gnashing of teeth. If you look at the world,
get on a bus during rush hour in the morning or a train. It looks like hell. The gnashing of teeth, they miserable. Beautiful day.
Exactly. This is hell. This is the hell room. Why?
Right.
As we speak right now, every 1.8 seconds, a person is dying. Every 1.8 seconds, a person is dying. Every 2 seconds, a person is born. So when you think about that many things going in and out, you understand this is an illusion. But the fact that this is the death realm, everything that is here rots, decays, and dies. And it's surrounding everywhere you go. So thinking that hell is some, you know, place that doesn't exist, you got to examine where you are. You might not even know what hell is until you look at and examine your circumstances. You know what I'm saying? That was just something. Like I said, I don't want to.
Yeah. No, you don't want to reveal too much. We touched on some things before, and we will go deeper at different points. But you have different materials you're working on, and even that what you said, it took you to be a brave person, man. Because most people would know these things and be like, I'm not saying anything. I don't want somebody to look at me like I'm a nut or just off. But there's a lot of folks out there who will throw off on you and say that to be cool with the crowd, and deep down say, dang, he said it and I already knew. I knew something was going on along these lines.
Oh, no. I'm not worried about the average person's.
Right. No, I know you're not. I know you're not. But see, most people are. So many people out here worried about what the next person is saying about them. What did they say about me? What did they? And you know, they're going to run themselves, you know, right into an authentic death for good. Worrying about the next person. That's like driving down the highway and worrying about what the car next to you, the driver, is looking at on his cell phone as he drives. He's doomed. His eyes are off the road. You're going to watch him? So it's just a matter of time before you wrap yourself around a pole. But this is on an eternal level.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
So therefore, I know, and I have never been a follower. Never. If it seems like I'm following somebody, it's because I made up my mind to walk that path that other person just happened to be a little bit earlier on. But if I see that path that this person who others think I'm following goes elsewhere from where I'm led to walk, I'm going my own way. You see what I mean?
Exactly.
I was always that intuitive person who stayed to myself. Oh, I could be the life of the party. I could, but I can be by myself and do what's necessary. And sometimes on this racetrack called life, or what we call life for those who call it life, all right? Because we already went through that already. There's sometimes when you have the straightaway and you have to put the pedal to the metal. And there's sometimes when you have to slow it down to get around the curves. You see, if you don't slow it down and get around the curves, you're going to fly off this track. So I'm not so foolish to follow behind somebody who's speeding toward an upcoming curve or turn and fly with them off of the track. I'm going to look out for myself. Of course, you're looking out for yourself. We have to think for ourselves. And like you said, we have to seek knowledge, not some hand-me-down, quote, back to me knowledge or fraudulent knowledge that somebody else who's oppressing us gives us and say, spit it back to me and I'll give you a degree. No, that divine thing that there's no book written for, or you have to have the insight. See, you got to be in touch. There's nothing else like having hands-on experience. And those of us who have suffered so much in this world, we have a sense about us. We have an awareness about us that sadly, oftentimes we turn our back on and forfeit it for the lower frequency because it tastes good, because it feels good. You see, that I'm through with. I'm through with all of that.
Well, that's an ongoing battle though too, with the physical. I mean, because your body's designed like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to use a washroom. You gotta sleep. You have to eat. Even those two things, when you look at them, how the body is designed. We're designed down here to torture each other. You're talking about people worrying about other people. That causes pain too. So we're designed to cause pain to each other based on the physical, the way that it's designed. The reason I say that is this.
I read you.
There's two principles. Yeah, there's two principles that I discovered. All power derives from sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The reason, let me explain that. When you're in waking life, the only way you can get power to recharge or to go the next day when you get tired is you have to go to sleep.
Right.
So if sleep is the only thing that gives you energy and you have to be unconscious, you see what I'm saying, to get that power, then that means death would be the ultimate.
Right.
Because that's the source of all the energy. You know what I mean? And the second way that we get energy, it's only two ways. That's one. But the second one is destruction of matter. Meaning, there's nothing I can eat without destroying it. There's nothing you can, you know what I'm saying? You have to destroy. They design our bodies in the world that you have to destroy something in order to get it, to eat it or consume it. So it doesn't matter whether I'm eating a plant, it doesn't meat, whatever. When I must destroy it to get the energy. So what I'm saying is, when you see those two principles in place, you understand that you gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's a battle.
Yep.
It's a battle.
And that's why,
crave that.
According to someone else, we have to be destroyed for them to live.
Yes. They eat by the destruction. Basically, they can't destroy. So you can't destroy God.
Right.
You can't. Only thing you can do is detain it or contain it. You see what I mean? It's like water. You can contain water, but you can't destroy water. So that's the same as the soul. They can put the soul in the body, but they can't destroy the soul. And the suffering that we go through, this body is suffering. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't want to hear this because it is uncomfortable to hear that. You know.
Well, let me just interject. Yeah. You know, for us to be in a body that only lasts but so long, that every few hours we have to eat. Every few hours, or even sooner than that, we have to go urinate or just, let off the other. And then we have these desires and urges, and then we feel hot and cold and dizziness and, just all these different things. And then we deal with other people. And then we have sickness and injuries. And this is kind of a bum deal. I appreciate being able to rise over a lot of that, but this is why we came into the world crying. Like, you contained me. I gotta be on top of this like this. I want to be free. And
when you come in the world, once again, this correlates. It's so much. once you understand the deeper story with the Garden of Eden, that is metaphorical, but it's also real, literal, because they say that they were naked, okay, and they said they were without knowledge. You come into the world naked. You come into the world with no memory, no knowledge. See what I'm saying? We essentially come here as dummies. You know what I mean? You don't know anything. You know what I'm
Spitting up food and just going to the bathroom on ourselves, and
exactly.
we're at the mercy of someone else.
To the mercy, you are completely defenseless.
Right.
And then knowledge is forbidden on the planet. It's forbidden. You can only get training. You can only get things that help you keep this physical going. Once you start going towards the knowledge, all of a sudden there is a resistance. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's weird. Don't ask about that. Don't worry about that.
You're so right.
And isn't that the same as in the garden? I say that to say I see that as the spirit that contained us. He said it is forbidden. Everything is available to you, but and most people mess this up. They say the tree of knowledge. It's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil is symbolic of saying how to understand what is good and what is evil. So if something is ruling over me and I don't know, I can't identify it, I don't have the knowledge to know if it's good or evil, then once I get that knowledge, I can identify it, therefore find out that it is bad. Once I find out it is bad, it can't rule over me.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm just saying I see the correlation with that and being born on the planet. Also, I find it interesting that animals and other whoever on the physical planet, they come here with some form of memory, some form of instinct, or what they call instinct. We come here completely white. So I know that's a spiritual thing, because he wants to keep us contained. So yeah, the best thing you could do is get that knowledge, man. You know what I mean? That's the best thing you could do. And it will be demonized. God, or the real God, will always be demonized on this physical planet. So I started gravitating when they say, "Oh, this is Satan" or "This is the devil."
You need to gravitate toward that bad boy for real.
Yes, I do the research because even with the 666, I was scared of that growing up. 666, that's the devil. 666, oh, 666 is evil. And I will believe this because I would hear it from so many people.
Right.
But then when I did the research, I said, wait a minute, 666, that's 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, carbon, which is melanin.
See?
So the most melanated man, you calling yourself Satan. You see what I'm saying? The mark of the beast is melanin. It is the mark of God, the denoter of God. That his children, the same thing that's made, like gold. Gold is made out of carbon. Diamond is made out of carbon. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
These are the same thing that your melanin in your body is made out of. It's carbon, which is a form of God. It's the recording technology. You know what I'm saying? If you look at any recordings, and like a record, remember the first record? The vinyl.
33s and 45s. 78s.
That's right. You have to have a diamond head needle.
Right, I remember.
It has to be a melanated disc. Melanated.
Wow. Wow.
See what I'm saying? The recorder. When you film, when you take a picture, you used to take the film strips. It was a melanated, and it was dark brown strip.
I remember.
And it has to develop in dark room or the darkness to develop to show the actual real film. So what I'm saying is this is nothing but a science that was developed based on melanin, the studying of melanin that was reproduced to create the technology we have now. That's why your television screen is black. That's why your cell phone screen is black. That's why sunglasses have melanated tint to block the sun so that they can absorb it, because that was created for white people to absorb it, because if you're black, your eye has the melanin in it. See what I'm saying? So they have to create everything. All of the technology that we have today is based off of a reproduction of something that exists in you naturally. That is based on God.
Yes.
And that's hard. You know what I'm saying? We give all this credit. All you got to do is study melanin, and if you can reproduce it, like even Viagra, they were trying to come up with melanin, synthetic melanin. So this is just, I see it as, unless you have the right perspective, you're gonna see life. It's a battle, like they say. It's a battle between flesh, not of flesh and blood.
That's right.
But of spiritual weaknesses, or spiritual wickedness. Sorry, and principalities. The principalities are not in the physical. Because I had a conversation with a white guy. I think this was a couple weeks ago. And he was saying, "Show me God. Show me God." Now, this is an argument you get a lot from people, like I said, with a blind spiritual eye, right? With the calcified first eye, third eye. They can't see it. So we get into this argument, and I know this is a recurring argument with people, especially with white people. Oh, show me God. And I explained to him, I said, your question cannot be answered in the format that you want me to present it to you. You're asking me to show you something in the physical that is a non-physical thing, to prove to you that it is non-physical.
They didn't like that answer.
Absolutely. Because if you think about it, how can I show you something that is non-physical in the physical to prove to you that it is non-physical?
But also something that his frequency can't even pick up. His radio, his antennas can't even, his spiritual antennas, can't even pick up. His impotent spiritual antennas.
Absolutely. It's offline. It's offline by birth. When they come here by birth, that their third eye, pineal gland, and to some extent even the hypothalamus is calcified. Calcified is a clinical word for dead. You know what I'm saying? So, meaning he's offline spiritually.
Right. But this is why they want ours to be calcified by the poisons they give us. The food, processed food, alcohol, drugs, bad thoughts. And we turn around and hate on each other. And we look at each other like we're the enemy. Because ours has been calcified. When they see that it's not, they all of a sudden take interest in you. They want to know what you do when you go to these jobs or social affairs. And they're passing around the pork and the meat. And they see you don't eat those things. And they come to bring you filthy conversation. In the first conversation that they ever talk to you in. And you don't want to be bothered with that. Oh, he's different. And when you're aware, they can see it in your eyes. They can feel it from you. Right. And they're very uncomfortable around you. No matter even what their color, because they can be black and have it calcified and get very uncomfortable around you. They have another word for that. Coon. They get uncomfortable around you. See? Yeah. I don't have to say a word. I can come into a room and they can hide it. They can even smile. Put up a fake smile. But I can feel them. See, I'm at a point now, like even now, I'm home, quiet. I got the quiet yard out there. I'm speaking to my brother here on something deep. And I'm charging up. As a matter of fact, I cut all the lights out. I just have the computer screen on in front of me. And when we get off of this phone conversation, I'm going to go seek what others call darkness. I lay out in the sun. But then I have my period where at night or when I need to go in darkness and grow, that's how I meditate. I'll go into the darkness and think on something and absorb something. So the different practices that we need to do on this so-called physical plane that brings us higher into that next level. And this world is against it.
Absolutely.
It's early in the morning, guy. You want a donut and some coffee? Come on, man. Stimulants? All this sugar I'm dumping in and caffeine? I don't need that.
Right. Well, they need it.
Right.
Carbonated too.
Right.
Carbonated. These beverages. Carbon. See, they consume that because they don't have it naturally. Like you can go to the drugstore right now, and they sell in capsules of, it's called melatonin.
Yeah, to get.
Now, white people consume this. Yeah, to get what we get naturally.
Right.
So that's why they need coffee in the morning. Coffee is carbonated. See what I'm saying? You don't need the carbon because you wake up with the carbon in your system.
Exactly.
It's called melanin.
Exactly. Amazing.
So yeah, we are really, I agree with you. Yeah, we need more dark time. The reason I say that is, along with electricity and these other developments that have come in America and around the world, the world used to have darkness, a period of darkness. Now they have street lights. They have all these things.
Yes.
To keep you from really getting pure darkness.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Let me tell you something.
Yeah,
it was about maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock this morning, and I happened to be up on purpose because I had so much to catch up on. But I took a break, and I went out into my yard. I actually went out into the garden. And, of course, it's not completely dark because we do have street lights around here, but I shut off all the lights on the exterior of the house. And I went up under a plum tree that I have in the yard, and I just, I had to knock off a few spiders and a couple of things that were flying around, but I just resonated and absorbed that, looked up in the sky and felt the earth under me and felt the plants touching me, and I felt strong. I felt like I was getting something, and then eventually when I came in, and I did stay up very late, when I got into the dark room and just rested, I had some deep dreams that gave me some guidance, and I didn't retain all of it, but I retained enough to know that the way I'm going was confirmation. And see, you're right, because I used to have a problem sleeping. I'm already hyperactive in a way, but not from anything unnatural. And I can't look at it as a bad thing because I am a superhuman. You know what I mean? So that comes to the territory. Others will diagnose and say, oh, no, you have to give them this to calm them down. To calm me down for what? I'm not taking anything, right? But, the computer screens, as I would have it up at night, I get off pretty late. I would sit down in front of them. And the doctor told me, they said, well, listen, the computer radiation and light from the computer emulates sunlight. You get nothing from it because it has no nutrition in it like the sun, but it's affecting you and waking you up and stimulating your glands to be up. And therefore, you never really get any sleep. So even when I would go and lay down and think I'm sleeping, I wasn't sleeping deep enough, really deep enough. So this is why it's my goal, and I'll state it publicly because this is what's going to happen. My wife and I, Mrs. Scurv, we are seeking out to go out to live in the woods. I don't want to be around this crazy frequencies going on. I have to go around it at times. But I want to go where I can truly rest, where there's no anything bad in the atmosphere. And people say, well, you're going out there with the bears and the snakes and so and so. Well, look, what is a bear going to do? A bear just wants to come around me to eat, right? And what does a snake do? Well, we have live, living human snakes that I would have to look out for more than a snake that I know how to keep out of my home.
There you go.
You see what I mean? So people bring charges. We have electrical charges. We have positive, negative, and neutral. And we have people coming into our lives with a smile on their face, but they seek doom for us. They're the first ones to bring us bad news. They're the first ones to run when things are going good for us. See? And so they can smile and look good, but they have a negative charge. And with these people these days, and I guess it's always been this way, but it's even more amplified, you don't know what's coming at you. You don't know what charge this person has. See, the positive thing speaks for itself, but we have so many negative-based people that only want to suck you of your positivity because it's diametrically opposed to what they are, right? So it's a real deep thing, brother. I'm going to wrap it up in a few. I want you to drop a few more words and bring it to a close. And it's been wonderful, man. And we got to have a really deeper, longer, bigger conversation, really without revealing everything, because you got some books to write where you can put it down.
Man, I want to reveal it all because, I was talking about writing a book now, and I'm going to too, but the spirit world was also telling me, it was saying, you might write this book, but, black people are not going to read books.
True. And that's the reason why I said without revealing it all, because I'm not trying to be like the dudes with the secret handshakes. I'm not trying to hide anything back, but out of respect of what you wanted to put down, maybe on a certain level. But, in the beginning of the conversation, too, that we had the other day, what did I say? I said, put it out there.
Yeah.
So we got to do this on a regular, man, because, like you said, the spirit world, that plane that many of us are not connected to, but many of us are. I love to be still and let the spirit speak to me. Oh, what does he talk about? That ain't no Christianity. And let me tell you something else real quick before we go.
Yeah.
The fact that look at our neighborhoods that are downtrodden, every corner sometimes, 2 and 3 in a block, churches, Christianity, Jesus. Now, I'm not knocking anything. I'm just saying, look at the observation. And we have the worst crime in those areas. We have the worst lack of love. And it seems like to me, maybe I'm wrong, and I'll use a broad stroke to describe this person, the oppressor. The oppressor always seems to give those who claim Christianity a pass, somewhat. But when you don't subscribe to that, I'm not saying I do or I don't. I'm just saying as an observation. When you don't come out, Lord of Jesus, I'm so glad, Mr. White Man. I'm so glad that he brought you into my life to make me civilized and make me, blessings. He loves that because he has you controlled. There's certain things you're not going to do. You're going to be one of them turn the cheek Negroes. And he can get away with doing things to you that go against what he claims is his religion. He claims this and speaks this, but he don't do this. You see what I mean?
He doesn't do and I was having a conversation with my brother the other day about that because he was telling me about church. And I told him this. I said, the enemy, I said, just think of it in this way, deductive reasoning. Would your enemy allow you something if it was actually effective? Would he allow that? So when you go to church, you see him on every corner. You're right. It's in a ghetto. It's in a bad area. It's in a violent or dangerous area. But you see churches every block. And the white man allows you to go to it. You got to ask yourself, is this something that he sees as a threat? No. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. All systems are controlled in America.
Yep.
Like this conversation we're having, this is like the only spot we could have this conversation. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
On this forum, because if you go to church, there's no dialogue in church. Church is a one way, no questions asked.
You're so right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you go to your workplace, it is rules. You can't talk. You can't engage about that.
That's right.
You go to you know what I'm saying? It's all controlled.
But this is why many who may share employment with me on different platforms, I get the funny looks because while there can't be that kind of dialogue in that area, they'll run home to YouTube and listen to my videos, and I can tell because their ears get so red when they see me. And I'm just laughing. Because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I don't have any fear in me for any of that. And I'm very easily accessible. And if something ever happens to me, well, you just help me move me along to another level, and I'm watching you in spirit form.
Yeah. That's another thing that's always good to be accessible to, because people are closing themselves off to others, and it may be important information you may need to get that we've been trained just to basically close, you know what I mean? I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And it be something that the spirit needs you to do. The spirit world may be calling you to do something. And, we're so engaged in physical, we don't even, but yeah, what you're saying about church, that's very true. That's very true.
And the first thing, if it's not approved by the agenda, that's the devil. Oh, I can't mess with that. That's the devil.
It's called mind control.
Yeah, but the very one who's treating you the way they treat you and lynching you and killing you and poisoning you off and keeping you in ghetto plantations, that's not the devil?
Yeah, that's not the devil, right? Yeah, do you see that? Do you see this is what appalls me as far as white people. I know they call it, there's a term now they came out with, they say it's called, what is the word? It's
it'll come to you.
Coin that frame. Yeah, someone coined the phrase, it'll come to me. Mm-hmm. But bottom line, it's basically where they can ignore what they do and look at a person as evil or whatever, but at the same time, they're doing the very things that they condemn and say that you are the reason and you are only the victim. It's like if you rape someone and then you blame the rape victim.
Right. Deflecting on you. Yeah.
And that's very harmful to the black mind and the black psyche, because we look to another race for validation. Mm-hmm. We look to another race for
protection.
We look to another race for our spiritual awareness.
Everything.
And when you do that,
everything is outsourced. We have nothing. And if we have something, it better fall along the lines of what the oppressor approves. See, and isn't it funny how we have this way? I'm not saying you are when I say we, but I'm just saying it as a broad term, that if we gain something, we judge it or gauge it by how the oppressor will view it. So we're quick to reject something that we know the oppressor is going to not like. See?
Exactly.
So we run on automatic for him instead of being an independent thinker and challenging the system that he created to keep us trapped in. So, I do different shows and I can get a little ratchet. I can tell some jokes, but this is how I think. And this is I know this. I see this. You can't convince me otherwise. I'm seeing how this cycle works in this country and in the world. And I'm supposed to be stupid about it. I'm supposed to get to 54 years old, a week or two shy, and not know what you've been doing all these years.
Right. You're supposed to turn your head to it.
The very reason why I'm here as strong as I am and as focused as I am is because I know the tricks of the trade. I know the game. I know the minefields to step around. That's why the older black men in this system, they're a big threat. If you notice, if you look at some of the old slave shows or even people who would tell you certain stories, that old slave that hung around so long and been around so long, he knows every inch, nook and cranny of the plantation. He can run the plantation. He's the most trusted slave in a sense, but when the slave master gets on his nerves, Master Watson, just let me be. Leave me alone. He can raise his voice to the slave master. And the slave master knows his place because he can't hide from that old slave. That old slave been around too long and knows the dirt and knows how, and he's valuable to him. So he's not taking nothing no more. Now, I'm not a slave, but I've been around a long time. And when I open my mouth to speak to these people who think that they have the others fooled, they can't say a damn thing to me.
Yeah, and that's really empowering because, the images that they show to us, like especially with the films, of us being in that place of slavery or that servitude role, is to reinforce that context in your brain that even though that time has passed, they want to continue that mindset to keep you in slavery, to keep you talking to them as your superior. You see what I'm saying? And when you watch these films, it just reinforces it. It's like taking us back there. It's almost like bringing slavery from the past to the new generation,
right? For
them to feel the same, because when you watch films, you get emotion. It's like bringing that to the forefront from the past for us to feel those same feelings of helplessness, hopelessness.
That's right.
And bring it to the modern day. You know what I mean? Because
and it keeps it reinforced because have you noticed many times when you're in a situation where there's a group of blacks and you're getting along fine, but then this white man comes along and he elects himself to be the boss. Like, I'm here, you better fall in place. I am the boss. And for those of us who are trained up mentally in this system and groomed for that, we fall into place and let him just become the boss and run things. And 9 times out of 10, guess what? He's got to ask everybody who was there how things run. But yet and still, he's looked at as the boss by default. Where does that come from? And then it becomes an arrogance within some of them that, you know, how dare you question my authority that's here by default? We know that this is the way it is. We know that I'm the epitome. No, you're not. Prove yourself. You might know something. You might be the boss on a certain level, but you got to prove to me that you've mastered the craft. Don't just step into the room and assume that, like for me, I drive a bus down here in Orlando, Florida. So folks think, oh, you're just that. I have no problem. I do what I got to do to make a buck in this system while I'm in this system because I'm mastering this system. But that doesn't mean that I'm not brilliant, that I'm not a master communicator, that I can't creatively express myself, that I can't multitask beyond their capacities. Yet and still they're getting paid more money than me. Or they would never see me in a certain capacity in their system. I don't want to be a part of their system, and this is why I stress that all of us get together and have our own, no matter how small it is that you started out, but have our own. We need to respect each other, because too many of us think that, oh, that's something black, it can't be that good. And some of us don't deliver, but we've got to get out of that. Total detoxing totally out of this system.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what you were saying as far as your status or even that, everything from the white mindset is totally physical based, like I was saying. So he's looking at, like you were saying, you're a bus driver. That is great. You know why? Because you get to hide.
Exactly.
You get to hide.
Exactly.
And
I'm a ninja.
Exactly. You want to be hidden. It says the Christ will be hidden. See what I'm saying? The Christ will be hidden. The Christ is not a historical figure. The Christ is talking about an archetype for a particular person with the soul and the children of God. That's what they're talking about.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, this says the Christ or the Christ energy will be hidden.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He'll hide you. So it's good that they see you as a bus driver because you know why? Because then they underestimate their opponent. And it is always said, when you underestimate your opponent, that is when you get defeated.
That's right.
And because of the arrogance and pride.
Right.
Oh, he's not a threat to me. You see what I'm saying? I want them to think that.
That's right. It makes it easier for you.
It makes it exactly.
And it makes it easier for you to navigate in their world, learn their rhythm, and you're right there. And they don't even see you. Their arrogance keeps them blinded. You know?
That's right.
That's a wonderful thing.
Is people who like Floyd Mayweather and people like that, I respect his boxing career. But
yes.
What I'm saying is, when he shows his wealth like that, he's putting a target. You see what I'm saying? When you look at wealthy white people, like, okay, Floyd Mayweather is he's not a billionaire.
No, he's not. Right.
We see he's still in the millionaire category, maybe the hundreds of millions. But what I'm saying is, when you look at him, he shows his cars, he shows his boats, he shows his, okay? But then you look at someone like Warren Buffett.
Right.
Who's a billionaire, and they don't show to the same level as a person who is not at the billionaire level,
right? But
he's putting a target. So what I'm saying is, you don't want to be identified as a target, and it's better to go low key. Because I know wealthy white people, man. I'm telling you, they will wear
some raggedy, or some things way below
shoes.
Yeah, their esteem is not caught up in what they have. Money making is a game for them. But they don't have the voids. Say it again.
But they want to be off the radar.
Right, right.
They don't want you to. They go outside and there he is. There he is. You see what I'm saying?
What is that about us as black people? Some of us that we have to be seen. I mean, we have to be seen for anything. We will do stupid stuff just to be seen.
I don't blame us. I do not blame us at all because we have been depraved.
Yeah,
we have been deprived of that for so long that any chance we can get to put a little bit of that back, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We go overboard because it's like starving.
It's like a rush. You know exactly.
So I used to judge and say that, but I don't anymore because I understand, as a black man, I understand how to live your life constantly being deprived of any pride, any type of status, any type of significance in this society, that when you get a little bit of it, you know what I'm saying? You try to maximize it to make up for all of that depravity that you have experienced over a course of time. It's like trying to make up for it. So
That's
I
right.
don't blame black people, but I'm just saying it's not wise to set yourself up as the target,
Right.
because then your enemy can quickly identify you and say, "Oh, okay, here's a threat."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Here's a threat. So yeah, it's good to blend in, man. It's like a cloak. It's like having a cloak. They don't know who you are.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying? You just a guy riding a bus. You know, or you just a guy working a little job. And oh, he's black. Oh, and they don't know. You could be the one that can, like I said, when you underestimate your opponent, that's the one. That is the one that is going to get defeated. He doesn't even see it coming. You know what I'm saying? So I love when I have a dialogue with white people and they don't think I know nothing. They ask me what's my education based on their education system.
Right,
They
right.
ask me this and that. I love that because it shows me that their arrogance is going to be the reason of their fall, because they don't even, you see what I'm saying? They don't see me as, they're so confident is what I'm saying. They're so confident that they're going to miss it when it's happening, because there's a great awakening happening.
Oh, big
with
time.
people around the planet.
That's right.
Yeah, because of this internet.
And they can't stop it.
They can't, the internet is here to stay. So this information is, I say it's equivalent to the Library of Alexandria that was destroyed twice, because never before have we been able to connect to everyone on the planet in one spot where there's a hub of constant information being gathered in one place.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? They can't stop it. They can't stop it. They can't shut everybody's YouTube down. They can't shut every website down. You see what I'm saying? So this is why there's a fear from the Illuminati, or, well, they're not the Illuminati. They are the fake Illuminati. We the real Illuminati.
Right.
But
That's why they watch us so hard.
afraid. Yes, they just go on a black person's YouTube page that is talking about black issues. In the comment section, if they have the comment section open.
Oh, man. You're getting attacked.
Yeah. And I'm saying, wait a minute. If you don't care about, if we're insignificant so much, why do you take the time to go on a black channel to analyze our every word and then make the effort to leave a comment if you don't care? It's showing that they are very worried. As far as the fear, they have a fear. And it's like all these black men getting shot down who are unarmed.
Right.
Because my mother was asking me about that one day, and I was telling her, I was saying, it's something spiritual. How could a person, if I'm equipped with a weapon, and I have
In fear for their lives.
behind me, yeah, I have a whole force behind me. I have everything in my right. I have a legal right to kill you, or the legal authority to kill you, but I am afraid of you. What is that? They are afraid. It's something spiritual. They are afraid because they know who you are.
Exactly.
You are their father.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
you know,
Beautifully said.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about it. The science now that's coming forward is actually hurting them, because now science that used to be less transparent is actually lining up and actually showing that what they've been saying for years as far as the white supremacy is actually false.
Right.
And this is causing a problem. You know what I mean? Because they want to say, oh, we want to discover all this stuff. But the deeper they look, they start finding, oh, man. Wait a minute. This is not a black, wait a minute. We kidnapped God's children, and we're going to have to pay for this.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? They didn't.
It's too late.
You know what I mean?
It's too late.
Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen? It's a movie called. I think it came out a while ago. It was called Jack and the Beanstalk: The Real Story.
I heard of it, but I never saw it.
Well, bottom line, in a nutshell, this white guy he comes from a family, and they are wealthy. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know he's like the fourth generation. So he's inherited all this wealth, and he's asking, how did my family get this rich? And he comes to find out that his father, or his great-great-great-grandfather, stole a goose that lays golden eggs and a harp from the giants, the race of giants, which is similar to the Titans. And there's a curse on his family that they all died before the age of 40. So as this Jack, the fourth generation, as he's approaching 40, he's asking questions. How do we get all this wealth? What's our company? But anyway, he finds out that his father stole the goose that lays golden eggs, and basically they didn't know what they did, so they had to replace it. They had to bring it back to where they got it because they didn't understand the significance of what they had stolen. And that's the same as white people as far as stealing the slaves from Africa. They didn't know, you know what I'm saying? They didn't know.
And we have been the victims of all of this and subjected to so much, and still we're such a peace-loving people. And they're the ones in control. They're the ones who did what they did, yet they're enraged over our very existence. Check that out.
See, doesn't that make sense? Yeah, and that's perplexing because I've always thought about that. Even as a child, I would say, wait a minute. How is I see white people, they'll be proud. They'll say, oh, yeah, we used to hang black people. Oh, we used to do this. And I'm saying, hold on. What did we do? You see what I'm saying? What did we do that makes you feel good to do bad things or negative things? It's got to be something that's non-physical, because I can't recall an account of black people bombing other countries, doing the epitome. Like, for instance, if it was an even thing, it would be black people hanging white people. How come I don't hear about this?
Right.
How come you don't hear about black people shooting up malls and innocent people? So what I'm saying is that's when I started to do research and found out it's a spiritual. They hate God's children. See what I'm saying? By design, just like a cat is the natural enemy of a dog. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Unless they grow up together, the physical, they are designed to be enemies. So this is what we got to understand with white people. I don't even think it's their intention. But once they reach that age of maturity, to become an adult, because as a children, I noticed they can be nice. You know what I mean? Before they reach adulthood. But once they get there, you guys are enemies. It's just by nature. And that's because they lack the spirit of God that you inherited by DNA. Mm-hmm. And I know that might sound racist or whatever, because they always say racist, but we can't be racist. That's a whole nother topic.
A whole other topic, but right. But still, we can't be. But they want to have us run and cower, even at that term. And you know what I'm going to start doing to speak on their frequency? When they come at that, like they're going to scare me. Oh, look at him. He goes home and gets on YouTube and invites these other brothers and sisters to speak about white people all the time. He's racist. No. And so you know what? No, we know what it is, and we know that it's not. But just to screw their head up, I'm like, yes, I am. Just like you. You taught me well. I love my race. Now go chew on that. What you gonna say down after that? What you gonna say? See, too many times we diminish the momentum of our righteous movement because we have to be careful. We don't want to look or be called racist. Now, any white person listening to this, when we say the white man, you know that we're talking about this system that's set up, and we're speaking about some of you all who are white, who are racist.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit here and grab a box of Raisin Bran cereal that my friend had over his house for 2 weeks, and he got bad roaches. And I got to go pick through the Raisin Bran to make sure what's a raisin and what's a roach. I don't want no roachy cereal. So I reject the whole box. So if you want to call me that, then go ahead and call me that. I got something to focus on more so than the label you want to put on me that you've worn so well over the last several hundred years plus. Right?
Exactly.
So that's not my worry what you think I am. My people know who I am. Because if you call me racist and you judge me by or gauge me by the life I've lived against those who are really, really racist, who have done things so obvious throughout history, and the closet racist who makes sure you don't get that mortgage, who rips up that job application even though you're qualified, but because you contain too much melanin, we can't have him working around us. We went to his Facebook page. No, we can't have one of those, that kind around us. See? The sneaky ones, the ones who love to work in prisons, the ones who love to become cops. Because when nobody's looking, they can pull up that nightstick and crack it over our head just to knock a nigger in the head legally, and get away with it and get paid. See, so there's a lot of those undercover racists. And why is it that some of them who are corporate racists, who will reject us on their jobs, which I'm kind of funny about that because we should have our own jobs. We have our own needs that we can fulfill in our community. But reject us on their jobs, talking about, oh, we're not hiring right now, or we really don't have the money. It's a bit lean right now. But turn around and these same jokers trade their corporate suits for some other outfit to blend in, and they're making it rain in the black titty bar. Oh, so you don't have any money to help a brother out pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but you got money to fund our women being playthings, and you can ogle and play with their adornments, and they're in their place. You little sex kitten, you. I'll never honor you as a brilliant mind. This is the problem they had with Michelle Obama. No matter how we stand with their politics, the imagery of a dignified, educated black woman. That negated all of the Nicki Minajery that's put out there, right?
Yeah.
So how do we deal with this? This goes against, because they love the ratchet videos that they see of us. Come on now. In our neighborhoods, we see enough of that. We're not running to see or look at that as fast. When those videos get that many hits, trust me, it's not just us. We 13% of the population, and these videos get millions and millions and millions of hits. So are we playing it over and over and over again? No. Hey, Becky, come here. Come to the computer room. Look at this nigger gal. She's fighting the other one, and they fought so hard till her titty came out.
They imitated.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, it's like having a secret admirer. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they are, though.
You know what I mean?
In a twisted way.
It's like I really, really admire this person, or I'm really fascinated by this.
No, I really want to be you.
I really want to be you, but I can't tell you that I gotta shoot you down and come at you a certain way so that I will never reveal my real admiration. So that you
right.
Ever see it.
It's like the girl. It's like the girl in second or third grade who would look at you and say, "You so ugly. You so ugly. You so ugly." But then now, you know, you're 19, 20 years old, and she don't think you ugly no more, and you're enjoying yourselves in the bedroom during the festivities of procreation. And she admits, "I always had a crush on you." See, that's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right. It's what it is. It's hiding, and the cowardly. My thing is, based on, I'm just saying, you could take a black person who has no money, okay, and you could take a white person who has all the money in the world, and the level of cowardice that it's like, if a black person's going to do something, our intentions are there. You see it. You know what I mean? We reveal our emotions.
Right.
But a white person will, like you said, and this is what's scary about them to me, is I've been on workplaces in the past where white people will have a different intention, but when they talk to me, oh, hi, how you doing?
Right.
So it's a face behind a mask that you don't see. But with a black person, usually when you deal with black people, we can't hide our emotions. We try.
Right.
But when a black person, you know what I'm saying? It's on our face.
You ain't lying.
That's what scares me. Is the cowardice of their move. Just like the Ku Klux Klan wearing sheets on their head to hide the identity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But a black person, if we do something, we stand out there. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You know that you were wrong. So yeah. But their time is short, man.
Yes.
I'm telling you, this is the truth. They have a negative birth rate. And also these diseases. I hear the white people all the time talk about, oh, well, we created, what about the civilization we got, and what about this, and technology, and we are this and we're that. And I'm saying, do you see how much we are paying? Do you see if in their world and in their mind, they believe they are so great for these mostly conveniences.
Right. That's really killing us off.
Yes, but they don't see, if you were so great, how is there homeless people outside? How is there people starving in your country? How do we have a system with that many people in prison, the most imprisoned country in the world?
Most incarceration. Yeah.
Yeah, and how are we dying from cancer and all these other things that if you just go back 100 years, matter of fact, 70 years ago.
Well, how can you seek greatness when you're raping, robbing, and stealing things, everything, resources and everything, and taking credit for it all over the world, and the world doesn't like you? See, they're not going to say that part. They're not riding off into the sunset as some great whatever. The world does not like the United States. And it's not the people, not the righteous people here. Let me correct it, because there's a lot of rotten people here too. You see? But the leadership and the rotten people who go along with that, the world does not want to be bothered with that. In the world, like I said, I'm not aligning myself with those here, but we have fallen behind. There are people who come here and they can't wait to get back. We came to visit, but I could never live here. And the Negroes who are here looking stupid like, well, this got to still be the greatest place. And come on. You know what I mean? The world is ours. We happen to be here, yes. This is what we know, yes. But the world is ours. The sun sets all over the place. There's water all over the place. There's luxury all over the world. And it's damn sure an atmosphere out there that lacks this negative electricity that bombards our beings every single day of our life here. I don't like this. I don't like having to fight against this kind of ignorance every day, whether it's overt or whether it's subtle. It's always there. It's a constant pressure. Who wants to be bothered with that? Who really, God bless America. I'm not somebody who wishes harm on anybody, but sometimes after what I go through here on a daily basis, I say, God bless America.
There you go.
The concept of what this place has become. Tear it down. They're worried about the economy. Yeah, and the economic crash. Let it crash. Because I'm an outsider. I'm like that bird out in the wilderness, or that alligator, or that snake, or that deer. I'm here, but our presence serves to keep them in power. But I don't partake in any of their victories, and they don't even let me in. So let it crash. Matter of fact, I hope it crash because I can buy more land with the little money I have at a bargain basement price.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LanceScurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LanceScurv.